I did not know that. And so I tried to listen to the audio after I downloaded it. And that's when I discovered. So, Ed, I don't know if it's possible to record a global TV show while not record the video, but not the audio. But
No, I know.
I know it's possible on the camcorder I have.
So here we are, everybody. I'm in San Diego, and welcome to Global TV Talk Show. And outside of Washington, D.C., and Eastern Maryland, Ron Cooper, and he's CEO, former Top Gun, uh, American hero, live and in person right here in this talk show. I'm really honored to have this opportunity, Ron Cooper. It's the cooperculture.com. Ron, do a quick about what the cooperculture.com is known for, and then we'll get
Ed,
into this topic.
Yeah, Ed, thank you for the opportunity. We in the Cooper culture are a mission centric company. By mission centric, we're talking about your company, your family. What is the overall mission that you are striving for? And much of that has to do with culture. That's what we're about, the Cooper culture. And we put the emphasis on culture. Culture is a matter of caring for, compassionately caring for people, and it's understanding other people. We are DISC personality certified, so we help others understand people through personality. And when people do understand others by personality, we adapt to them and their disposition and communicate with them accordingly. And so, as we do that, we choose to adapt to, work with in a compassionate way. And it's through leadership that we teach this, that we have very cohesive teams. In my 22 years in the military and being an F-4 fighter pilot, 300 mission, 300 more than 300 combat missions, I teach those leaders how to work best with those in their organization. And very briefly, Ed, we are a believer that, and we know it to be true, there is a continuum between home and work. And whatever it is that's happening at home will necessarily bring itself into the workplace if we attempt to, as leaders in the workplace, attempt to filter or say, don't bring anything into the workplace. Yes, some people will try to do that, but yet whatever's happening at home that's not good is going to work its way into the workplace. And so we want, as leaders, want to help people, your workers, to work through anything at home. And some people might say, "Well, we just don't have the time for that." And well, it's just a matter of whether we share the same values. Do we know your value to the company? And if there's a yes to all of that, then the time investment is going to be worth it. Ed, that's a lot of what we're about. And I do speak nationally and internationally on these topics where we address those topics that produce a great teamwork culture. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you for being on this broadcast. Audience, we're going to get into today's topic. It's about in the corporate leadership realm, corporate leadership topic, a poor feedback culture. The number one issue, and Ron, please correct me or redirect me if I'm saying this incorrectly. Inadequate or poorly delivered feedback can lead to confusion about expectations and missed opportunities for talent development and business growth. Impact is stagnant employee performance and dissatisfaction. So it's all about feedback, Ron, isn't it?
It is, Ed, and we have discussed this topic before. And to Dr. Ken Lloyd's credit, he has coined the term feed forward, and not a useless euphemism or as any trite expression, but really, as we are working with those on our staff as we provide meaningful feedback to them, that is their performance. And if our mindset is we want to do everything we can to advance or elevate those on our staff, that has everything to do with our feedback. And feedback assessment, it's not an evaluation. In other words, 0 through 10 or something like that necessarily. But Ed, what it is a mindset that I, as a good leader, want to always elevate you, Ed, if you were on my staff. Everyone on my staff, that as we share values, I feel responsible to equip you to take you to the next level, whatever your aspirations are, and what do you need to perform best at that. And so there are some people who have doubts whether they can perform at the next level, and I want to do everything I can to help them work through any doubts they may have, because there's great satisfaction in achieving the next level and working toward that. Ed, that's a lot to do with the term feedback, but it's a matter of being able to, and we want to accurately assess where people are, where they want to be, where their capabilities are. And a lot of what I'm talking about is believing in the capabilities of people. And as we believe in our people, we will want to elevate or advance them to wherever it is they choose to go. And we take pride in advancing them to wherever it is they choose to go. And there's some cases, Ed, that we may have people in the wrong position, that they're not functioning best where they are. But as we determine their talents, traits, where they best function, when people are working in those areas where they are functionally best, man, I'm right in the heart of my sweet spot, so to speak, people are going to function best. Ed, again, that's kind of a long answer to your question, but that's a lot of the scope of what feedback is. And if we have the mindset that, well, gosh, now I got to do my annual feedback, I'll just work my way through this, and I just want to cover the square. People are going to recognize that right away. And yep, you're just doing this out of obligation. It's not because you're here to advance me. And now I'm being graded, and I'm probably going to end up on the short stick. If that becomes the attitude, I'm not going to perform to my maximum potential, because, yeah, I'm just here for the negative part of whatever this evaluation is. And but too often, Ed, people function just in that kind of capacity or culture within a company.
Thank you for that deep dive. And so I believe in media prep, and I strive for best practice media prep, not only for our guests, but for myself. So I did a little research on this, asking Gemini. So please correct Gemini and me if any
Sure.
of this doesn't make sense to you, because you're the real thing and I'm a communication vehicle here. 65% of employees want more feedback that they are currently receiving. What's the impact? I asked. Answer came back. The result of a poor feedback culture is stagnant employee performance and dissatisfaction, low engagement, lower morale, employees trying to figure out what the boss is doing and what and how they should behave. And I guess they're afraid to raise their hand and say, we don't know what you're talking about. Give us some guidance. Is that common?
No, you're right on target, Ed, that engagement and morale are very operative terms in this context. If I feel you and I are genuinely engaged, and let's just say that you are my supervisor, and we can genuinely engage in meaningful conversation, and meaningful is very operative. Do I feel I have a meaningful part in your company, Ed? If I'm on your staff, you are my supervisor. Do I feel I have a meaningful part in your company? Do have you defined exactly what my talents are, how they contribute to the company? And if you believe through time, nurturing, maturing, I'm capable of even more, I would hope you would tell me that. And and then what I'm doing, Ed, is saying, okay, gosh, Ed, you believe in me, and you don't have to use those words necessarily. But as we have communication, it's real time. It's not annual. It's real time communication. It could be one on one over lunch, wherever it may be. But I feel as if we are genuinely connected by way of communication, by way of work performance, that we can genuinely, honestly communicate with each other. And we've talked about it more than a bunch of times, but a psychologically safe environment, culture, means you and I, Ed, can talk freely with each other. And we're never going to shout at each other, or if we do, it's very momentary, but it's not, certainly not in a way that would be denigrating in any way. But we can have a very civil conversation, and everything we say to and about each other is uplifting, and we're here to support and elevate each other. Ed, when that communication, when that relationship exists, you and I are always going to advance with each other, and I feel certain I can talk to you in a very innovative thought way that you stimulate my thinking. And I may present to you some different ways that we can advance your company in this hypothetical example. And you would honestly evaluate everything I say, and it's very possible that 90% of what I say is not going to be and will not warrant moving forward, but I won't feel defeated from that. It's just that, okay, not yet, but it may be that just the 10% of any innovative thought that you say, man, you would tell me you're onto something here. Let's work further with that. But Ed, that's a kind of a culture where if we don't have a good relationship from the very beginning, you'll never get that quote 10% thought of something that's will warrant moving forward. But that's a lot of what very meaningful feedback is, and feed forward, very meaningful and uplifting communication.
Thank you. The Gemini communication back to me highlighted in boldface stress and conflict, misunderstandings and frustration from poor communication increase stress for 80% of U.S. workers and leads to workplace tension and conflicts, wasted time and expense. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just reading what Gemini wrote back to me. In that kind of situation, 40 minutes of every day is spent on their own surveys, 40 minutes of every day trying to figure out what to do because of unclear instructions from the localized manager.
And that's statistics warrant, validate exactly what you said, Ed, that we as effective leaders and supervisors need to be very clear about what our company objective is. What is it we're doing? And we need to have a very purposeful mission statement, and that's not just a plaque on the wall, but it's what we're here to do, the vision of our future. And Ed, if you were one of my employees, I would want to make certain you know what I represent as I establish the company's mission, objective, vision statement, and your talents will help advance our company together by you having the clarity of exactly what the company is about. We are here to support our customer base, and you know exactly what the talents are. The reason I brought you into my company, in this, again, this hypothetical example, and you know exactly what your talents are, why you were hired, and so you have that clarity of knowing what your contribution is to our company objectives. In that context, as you have innovative thinking, as I have inspired you, which I certainly hope I do, Ed, to innovative thinking, you might say, well, Ron, based on your company objectives and where you want to go and maybe the technology that's available, would you think that trying this, whatever that might happen to be, is that something worth looking into? And so, Ed, you're innovatively thinking when you present that kind of statement to me, and I want to honor the innovative thinking. And again, not every innovative thought is going to work out, but we're always learning through each other's examples, each other's learning experience, but that's all brought about through a psychologically safe environment to where you know exactly with clarity where the company is going, and you've got innovative thinking about how you can help advance the company. But that's all about clarity, and you feel a definite part of, or you are wholly engaged with the company and moving forward. When we have that kind of culture, you will feel engaged. But if I am talking to you in a way that I'm just doing it out of obligation and there's nothing really meaningful to it, but I'm just putting a check mark in the square, yep, I spoke with Ed, you're not going to be engaged. You're just here for a paycheck. And that is what happens with companies. And the term burnout is an expression that's frequently used. That it's people saying, "I being with this company has no more meaning to me than getting a paycheck, nothing more."
Let's talk about military training. You've often said on these shows, and you've been on like 50 shows since we began this more than a year ago. The military is always training, always training. Well, it's the same thing that's necessary today in business, isn't it?
Oh, it is. That's exactly what it is, Ed. And yes, in the military, we're always training, and it is a part of teamwork. And I will say that from my perspective, and I'm going to make the analogy that there are three professions that have teamwork from my perspective down to a fine art, and that is law enforcement, firefighters, and military. In some cases, literally, our lives depend on trusting and working well with each other. But as we have that teamwork together, in the training is largely a part of teamwork as we train together, as the training advances our mission. And early on in this conversation, I mentioned a part of the Cooper culture is mission centric. Well, what is the mission of your company? Our company. I want to make certain that everyone knows. And then as we are training together, learning together, we are working toward the overall objective of the mission of our company. And that's what I mean by we are mission centric. And so by training together, Ed, the word together is very operative to me. As we are together, we're learning together, we're sharing information. But a part of the culture is as I share information with you, hopefully you would with me, you don't feel threatened that I'm advancing you and that I'm not going to share information with you because you'll be promoted over me. That's if that's the culture, then we're not going to have full employee engagement. But going back to your original premise, Ed, training together. Yes, we together are moving forward. That's what the operative expression is, and it's not just an expression. That is the operative mechanism in the culture that we are training and moving forward, upward, and together.
I have to just ask this question as my role here is an interviewer. But so in your company or in your trainings, uh, today, business training in your consultancy. Are are you looking for two things come to mind here? This is unrehearsed, as you could tell out there.
Sure.
But
Fine.
are you looking for military experienced people? Because the systems approach in a non-threatening atmosphere has come across from you very clearly, to me as a listener and as a communicator back to the audience, that's the answer. It is ongoing training, constant review without putting people down by discovering what's needed. And therefore, would you seek to employ people who come from a military background because they get that?
There is a broad response to your question, Ed. I would say that we in the military, within a few minutes of conversation, know each other very well. And we can tell within a few minutes of conversation if we have served in the military. Am I looking exclusively for military personnel? Not necessarily. And I'm certainly in a company where we train leaders. I'm not trying to have the leaders develop people as military personnel who, march together in formation before the start of each meeting and so on. That's not my point at all. But there is a culture, there is a hunger to learn. That's a part of the mindset of the people you bring on with the company.
It's
The
necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yes, I want to be with people who have a hunger to learn. I can tell you that for Marty and me, my wife of 58 years, and I want to end the day knowing every day, knowing something we did not know at the beginning of the day. Now, training. The word training can take on a militaristic view. Well, training, Ed, can be in the form of we discuss something in a meeting. And I don't like weekly scheduled meetings. Let's have a meeting when we have something meaningful to discuss, rather than the traditional weekly meeting. But at these meetings, we discuss something, and it's not necessarily a half a day kind of thing, but it could be 15 minutes that I bring up a topic that, hey, I just want to share with you something I learned. And I have learned, and I'll just say very briefly, Ed, and this a lot more to this subject, but silence in an organization sometimes speaks louder than words. Some people are silent because of different things in their background, different things that have happened. I don't feel safe in discussing, but when we are perceptive enough about silence, and this could be a very brief conversation, I want to do everything I can to avoid the people on my staff masking something that they don't feel comfortable discussing. If it's deep down embedded in them, it's likely they are not going to feel comfortable discussing it, and almost certainly it's going to hinder their performance in the company. But Ed, that's all a part of the word training, learning together, and I want everyone to feel very comfortable that we can openly discuss. I would never force you to discuss anything that you feel uncomfortable discussing, but Ed, maybe over a period of time of you and I developing trust and respect with each other, you may feel comfortable discussing it, after which, some period of time, you would feel that I no longer have to mask whatever it is that's keeping me from performing well. But we know there are a lot of different people who mask various life traumas as an example, and they're not performing at their best because they think less of themselves. I mean, doubt of whether they can do something is very prevalent in some people. And I want to do everything I can to help people overcome doubt that yes, you can, with the right training, the right belief, and the right nurturing feedback. I believe you can accomplish anything that is right within your strength area. So, Ed, that's a lot of, again, a lot of verbiage about training in the military, but it's the discipline that, hey, we're always growing together.
What about the structural issue of you are the CEO and I am a tech, if you will. I'm referring back to my military time in the Army Reserve in a highly skilled, unique, and elite medical unit. I was a trained OR tech stateside. Uh, the unit was run by a general who happened to be the Surgeon General of Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard trained. And the doctors in the unit were doctors under him from Harvard Medical School training. And I was honored to be selected to be at Tech. In other words, the doctors taught me what to do and what they needed me to do. So I learned it. And then I became valuable to them. And it changed my personal life because I had no idea that all that was necessary. And so now, taking that analogy to a structure in a company where you get a whole cross section of different people and backgrounds and experiences, cultural and whatever, it's the lower level manager that oversees the employees. That I would think that's a weak link. So, because the employees don't want to stick out by criticizing that manager that they have to work with daily, but that the employees, I would imagine, are summarizing from all of that concept is that because the managers, lower level managers, are not trained on how to give good feedback, it points to an issue at the employee level, junior level, of I don't want to stick my hand up and get it slammed down. I don't want that risk. But meanwhile, productivity suffers.
Well, Ed, in that context, I, as a CEO in this example, am responsible for being perceptive about everything you just described. I should not have to wonder, but I should be perceptive about the fact that nope, we're not providing meaningful feedback. Our employees are not engaged, and our mid-level managers are not leaders. They're not managing. They're not leading well. I need to be perceptive of that, and I need to do whatever I need to do to make certain that our mid-level managers, leaders, are trained to lead the people. And we're not going to get engagement from their subordinates if they're not leading well. And so all of this is working together toward a company culture to where I am perceptive that I want the culture that, again, training, we're learning together. I want to make certain that everyone who is supervising people knows exactly how to lead people. Again, I mentioned early on that Marty and I are DISC personality certified. We want to learn people's personalities. We want to adapt to them, communicate with them based on their personality. And when people feel they're engaged, they will engage and they will want to advance the company. And again, Ed, I use the expression that I am hungry to learn. I would hope that everyone in our company can be hungry to learn, and together we are learning. And when people are hungry to learn, while I don't expect people to spend time at home doing study and so forth, it's very common that people will do just that because a thought came to mind in the quietness of home that, I wonder, I tell you what, I want to check more into that, Ed. I want to learn more about, and by golly, here I am in the quiet spaces of home, and I may put in 15, 30 minutes of working with Gemini or whatever the medium might be, and I'm learning about, and I take that into work. And I say, you know what? I learned something that, yeah, I just have an intuition that whatever I learn, we might be able to put that into effect here in this company somewhere. And Ed, this is the kind of thing that happens. And I never expect people to spend time at home thinking about work, but yet a lot of people will get fulfillment from knowing something, advancing. And so when that to me is all a part of being totally engaged. And again, I don't want to seem as I'm coming across that, well, hey, I'm expecting you to spend hours at home thinking about work at the expense of your family. I'm not advocating any part of that. But yet, maybe, just maybe, 15 minutes of just use that as a proverbial time frame. I just happened to think about, learned about, and by golly, maybe, just maybe. But Ed, that's the kind of thing that when we're totally engaged, that's the kind of thing where we're advancing each other. And I'm not here to advance myself beyond you at all. Hey, we're all in this together because I know eventually I'm going to benefit from it.
Thank you. So, moving on with Gemini. Um, it seems obvious, but I think you just commented perfectly on that. Avoiding on managerial feedback to the troops, if you will, the team, avoiding vague information like good or bad, avoiding that, but give specific actionable points for future improvement. So my concept here is that companies are a learning center. It's like a university. And with that attitude, the manager are teachers in the classroom and right next to the producers, the workers. Strategies for cultivating a healthy feedback culture, implementing continuous training and fostering a supportive environment. Just that's well, to me, I interpret that phrase as showing care. I care. I want the team to develop and to be happy about all that because the company will benefit.
No, it's exactly what it is, Ed. When we demonstrate I care and we're genuine about that, I care, I believe in you are all synonymous terms in this context. That if a person, let's say, engages in an argument with someone and we overhear it, and I have a supervisory responsibility. It's my responsibility to work with that person to help them craft a conversation so it doesn't turn into a combative argument. And we know this could happen frequently in the workplace, in the family, and so forth. And so, how can I help a person be more communicative, be more persuasive in my conversation without being combative and argumentative? And Ed, there are a lot of times that people will shut down engagement if they feel that it's and you and I have talked about it before, but if I resent you because of the way you treated me, then if that's not resolved right away, that could easily result in escalate to something more, and I will further disengage with you, the company, and so forth. And but see, Ed, this is I'm going to call it a permissive type of culture, but it's one in which we need to feel free to speak with each other. And I, as a supervisor, if I have responsibility, that I have to feel comfortable that I'm going to use the word confront, but by confronting, that I'm not here to denigrate you in any way, but I'm here to give you honest feedback. That let me see if I can help you so that we avoid an occurrence of what just happened, something of that scenario. But Ed, whatever it is that we do not confront, we are ostensibly accepting whatever is happening, and that could mean a lower standard within the company. We have to have the courage to confront, correct, and do it in a very supportive way, such that those we supervise do not disengage from the conversation.
So the purpose of this program is to communicate what the Cooper culture is all about. And we've taken this tack, uh, and I love it personally. I think it's meaningful. Um, so one of my pet phrases has become uh, in these kinds of conversations, not just with you, but with Philip Berry and Ken Lloyd and many others, is it's my role to create an atmosphere within the TV show idea, uh, keeping in mind this is unrehearsed and the camera is on and the note takers are taking notes on everything. We want to be sure to foster a feeling of psychological safety in the workplace. And this is a workplace. Here's Gemini talking. Creating an environment where employees feel comfortable asking questions, admitting mistakes, and speaking up without fear of reprimand, which is that's exactly what you just said. This is vital, they say, this is vital for high performance and resilience, listening, collaborating, strengthening feedback. Leaders should actively listen to employees, seek their opinions, and discuss their goals and responsibilities frequently without, as you say, denigration or retribution or without fear. Collaboration by listening first and asking open-ended questions to gather info and create a problem-solving atmosphere in the workplace. Ron Cooper?
No, in open-ended questions, that's a very operative term, Ed. And as we as leaders become skilled in asking open-ended questions, the open-ended question is one that stimulates dialogue. A closed-end question is yes, no. But as we are skilled in asking open-ended questions, we will solicit dialogue.
Like what?
Now,
Give me an example of an open end.
Ed, tell me about tell me about your day. Is everything going well for you? And there's no it could be a yes no, but yet what I'm soliciting in that with the open-ended question is um, let me know how things are going, Ed. There's more than just the well, just fine. And so, with that, I'm soliciting dialogue, but the commensurate part of that is I need to be willing to listen. That I'm listening for what you say, and then whatever it is you say, I frequently ask Ed, "Am I processing correctly what you just said?" And I may not have. But I want to make certain that I am understanding exactly what you're saying. And I would hope that the culture, the relationship between the two of us is one that, yep, you feel free to express exactly what you're saying. But again, the culture is we're not going to denigrate each other. That you have an honest opinion, and I'm seeking whatever your opinion is, your thoughts are about some topic. And again, I'm hoping to have an open dialogue about it. And through that open dialogue, and I'm listening, I may say, "Well, Ed, I'm very interested in what you just said about that. Can you tell me more about that?" And I would hope that we can. I use the expression frequently. We're continuing to peel the onion back, and I'm learning from you as we discuss. But I'm listening.
TheCooperCulture.com. What I'm just trying to pull it up right now to look at. You know your page much better than me, but Cooper Culture, one finger at a time .com. Okay, here's what it says, everybody out there. TheCooperCulture.com is a veteran-owned business led by Ron Cooper, U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, retired, that provides executive coaching, leadership workshops, and organizational cultural consulting. They focus on helping organizations build high-performing teams through trust and, according to their social media, are affiliated with John Maxwell coaching techniques. Key aspects of the CooperCulture.com: leadership development, mission, ownership, location. So we come to a close in the next few minutes, Ron. Mission is the whole thing, isn't it?
It is. And what are we, our company, about? And okay, I'll just use you an example, Ed, Global TV, that you have a mission. You're doing this for a reason. And your mission is, as you have defined it, and within the company that I am leading, within companies that others are leading, what is your mission? What is your purpose? Why are you in existence? And do those on your staff know what that mission and purpose is, and is everything clearly defined? And we mentioned clarity earlier in the conversation. Do those on your staff, would they be able to define the company mission and exactly their contribution to that company mission? My hope is that yes, everyone in the company knows exactly what that is, their part in it, and they can say that because of the culture, I am respected here and I respect the leadership. We work together functionally as a very cohesive team. And that cohesive team is we respect each other. And yes, we do have a defined start time and ending time in the day. But I'm going to let you know, Ed, if I'm going to be late, longer, or anything like that. I respect you if we have a meeting set and it looks like because of whatever that I'll be a little bit late coming to that meeting. I want to tell you before I'm actually late that I might be late coming to the meeting, so that because I respect you and your time well enough. That's all a part of the respect we have for each other, but it's the mission of the company, and the company has a mission of serving somebody to do whatever it is that the company was formed to do. Ed, that's a lot of what we are about, working with companies to help everyone know exactly what their purpose is, and leadership to have fully engaged employees. And being fully engaged is not because you're being threatened, it's because you want to be engaged.
Ron Cooper, thank you very much for this. This has been a terrific learning experience for me and enabling me to mix together information I've learned from you over the past year and a half in all the different broadcasts and situations, but also how I could be a better host
No,
for the benefit of the audience.
you're a great host, Ed, and it's always
Thank
good to
you.
have a conversation with you. That I would hope that the your listening audience has gained something from this conversation, and my hope is that we've stimulated thinking with those that are listening, viewing this. And I am available, as I'm sure you are, Ed, that if there are any questions, any thoughts that we have, let's work together. And we intend to advance or elevate others through our work and conversations.
Once again, audience, thecooperculture.com. Learn from this guy, Ron Cooper. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you.